Hey, good evening and welcome to another Wednesday night. Where is Pastor King? And I'm at a really unique place tonight. I really am. I love this spot. It's one of my favorite spots around here. The great mighty Niagara Falls, Horseshoe Falls is right there. I mean, I could literally throw a rock in it from where I'm sitting right now. But the spot where I'm sitting is right next to a monument here. And this monument is to a fellow by the name of Nik Wallenda. Nik Wallenda, from this spot, was the first person ever to actually walk on a tightrope, as you can see right here, walk on a tightrope literally across the top of the Horseshoe Falls here at Niagara Falls. And that happened, you can see the date here, June 15th, 2012. And this is the spot. Now, one thing that a lot of folks probably have seen but maybe haven't thought about much is a lot of times these tightrope walkers, they'll carry a pole, and it's a long pole. They'll hold it horizontally and they'll carry it across as they're walking on the tightrope. You've probably seen Nik Wallenda do it. He recently did it at Times Square. He has walked across the Grand Canyon, a lot of other places like that. But the purpose of that pole, that 40-pound pole, think about that. The purpose of that 40-pound pole is to bring balance. If he starts leaning a little bit one direction, he'll tilt the pole just a little bit and it'll pull him back the other way. But if somebody tried to go across on a tightrope right there, it would be almost impossible to do it without a balancing pole. And I want to just read a few verses to you today from the Bible, from the book of Ecclesiastes, about God's balance and how God brings balance into our lives. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and time to speak." And if you go a little further down, verse 11 says, "He," talking about God, "hath made everything beautiful in his time." It's just a passage about balance. You know, I'm reminded of Romans 8:28, "For we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." You know, God brings a lot of good into our life. And God also allows some trials and tribulations to come into our life as well. If we did not have the negatives that we perceive in life, and I say we perceive because things, just because we think they're negative doesn't mean they are. But if we did not have those things that we perceive to be negative in our lives, we would never be able to value the positives that we have in our life. And God today, I'm telling you, right this very minute, God is trying to balance you. Just like Nik Wallenda held that pole for balance, God is trying to be that balance for you. Here are a few thoughts that I wrote down. The first one is, without God's balance, we would have no stability. Without God's balance, we would have no stability. If we did not have the trials to offset the blessings, if we did not have the negative to offset the positive, if we did not have the burdens to offset the positive, happy things in life, if we didn't have those balances, we'd have no stability. The wind would just blow Nik Wallenda away if he did not have that to keep him grounded and to keep him tethered and to keep him balanced. So without God's balance, we would have no stability. I want to be an emotionally stable person. I want that, okay? We all want stability. We want to be stable with our health. We want to be stable with our finances. I hope you want to be stable spiritually. I want to be stable emotionally as well. And you do understand that if you just lived in a padded room all your life and people waiting on you hand and foot and every luxury was at your fingertips, there would be no stability there. You need that. Second thing I wrote down is, if God does not balance us, we are destined for destruction. We are destined for destruction. If Nik Wallenda had gotten just a few feet out and he did not have that balancing pole, he would have fallen, and there is a slim chance he could have survived that, but it would not be likely that he would survive falling into what I'm looking at right now. God's balance keeps us from destruction. Even if the issues of life did not destroy us, we would destroy ourselves if we did not have God's balance in our life. Third thing I wrote down is if God doesn't balance us, we won't reach our potential. We will not reach our potential. The goal of leaving this spot to go that way on a tightrope was to get right over there to Table Rock, Niagara Falls, Ontario in Canada. That was the ultimate destination. That's where Nik Wallenda was trying to go. And there is an objective for your life. There's a plan, a purpose, there's a goal, and it is upon you to have a craving to get where you need to be. Listen, I don't want to get to the end of my life, turn around and look back and think, well, what in the world was that all about? That's not where I want to go with my life. I want to get somewhere. I want to accomplish something for our Lord Jesus Christ in our life. So if you don't have that balance in your life, you will never get there. There have been a couple times I've been in the middle of trials, and I have prayed something that I kind of regret. Okay, I have prayed, I've said, God, I could do so much more for you if this trial were not in my life right now. Okay, maybe not those exact words, but that mentality. God, I could do so much more for you if I did not have these trials in my life. But you know what? I get past those trials, and then I realize I needed those trials to get me where I need to be. So my fourth and final thought is if God doesn't balance us, we won't prove that it can be done. We will not prove that it can be done. Nik Wallenda proved to the world it can be done. Somebody can go across there. Now, I'll tell you, Nik Wallenda is the first person to actually go across Niagara Falls, over the Horseshoe Falls. But he is not the first person to cross the Niagara Gorge. Just right a few feet away, there's a man by the name of Blondin back in 1859 that crossed over the Niagara Gorge just a little ways from here. In 1859, it's said that he did it 9 times, and it is said that in his life he crossed over the gorge just right down there over 300 times. Now just think about that. But Blondin proved it could be done. Somebody could get across there, and years later, of course, 2012, Nik Wallenda did it. Listen, somebody is counting on you to break free from your addiction so that you can prove to them that it can be done. Somebody's counting on you to get over the struggles you're facing to prove that it can be done. And that's my prayer, that you can accomplish that today.